inside a kitchen rather than down in the basement, because the joke about basement on Villa is it's a black hole. No one goes down there. No one knows a call out for down there. That's pretty much guaranteed. So he could really do some damage. And sure enough, there he is. The little rat has already struck. I love it.
And it is going to be Cryin that gets picked up now. Cryin was on the knock. We know how powerful Cryin can be on that operator, and was trying to work across that ground floor clearance. That gives a little bit of a problem now, potentially, for Koi. Not only have they got a Caveira somewhere on their flank, but they've no real way of shutting it down, especially when Doki comes in and doubles down with a kill onto Spoit. That means Koi on the back foot as he manages to find Kanto as well. Doki
and just think G2 was scared. They were pulling back to site super early, but here they've held aggressive. They've ran the clock down as well. They've left Koi with 0 options, and it's going to be a nice, clean first round for G2.
He needs to be careful here, though, Des, because Spoit's on the hunt, and they do not want to lose that heartbeat scanner so early in the round. It's gone, and a Nitro with it. Doki, he is there for the trade, leaving us in a 4v4. He gets himself a second, and Doki is going big on Villa. Is it going to be a third? Can he cook up a surprise? No, he's going to move himself away and live to fight another day.
This is what I mean, though. It's the small, isolated 1v1s. First and foremost, great trade play coming out from Doki to trade out Alamau. Now the problem is Koi keep on taking separate 1v1s, and that's 2 rounds in a row that Doki's found himself 3. This is looking unbelievable so far. Absolutely decimating Koi. But again, Tim, it feels self-inflicted. They keep on taking 1v1 after 1v1, and that is where Doki is in his elements. Can't even find the last, and it turns into an ace for Doki, the demon of the kitchen. Early on to Alamau, but outside of that, it feels a little bit fragmented.
I mean, at the moment, they've got Deepak elsewhere in the map. He's on the drones. He's trying to give the information, but he's not really part of it, Des. And I think there's a fine line. You know, we've complimented Deepak's drone play so much, but the way things are going for Koi at the minute, it's maybe not the place they need him. They need him inside of the map, able to pick up those trades, able to impact the deaths or the movements of his team members around him. And it's just not happening for Koi at the minute.
No, it's not looking so good. I mean, Doki again, and the blind side.
Just free for Doki at the minute.
Kanto and Cryin have done that too in this round again. Well, not just 1v1s, but this time coming in blind, and Deepak is left trying to find whatever he can to pad out the KD, but it's not going to be the case as Doki yet again is now on 12 kills with a 4K in that round.
Building, it just seems to be a real difficulty for them so far.
Looking better though so far, as they have managed to hoover up a couple of kills on their way through. Leon is down low, but far from out, and Doki yet to have an impact in the round. I'm not saying it's really his fault at all, but we've yet to see him strike, and he has been the main barrier to the side of Koi and success in these rounds. For now, they're holding down though. I'm watching that drone count slowly ticking down, but look at that cross angle being held. Alamau a little too confident, and truthfully, Tim, he's been picked off really early on in quite a few of these rounds now.
I'll repeat what I said at the beginning of round 1, and that is, if you're a Koi supporter, don't be too concerned. You know, quite often we see teams come in and just have a slightly slow start, and then round 4, round 5, they start waking up, and it feels like that's what we're getting from this roster now. They're managing to get themselves into this one, although Benja finds another Doki on low health, though, as Bullets managed to find their target. 2v2.
There's the new pickup from Heroic, one of the top fraggers that we had in EUL, 2 kills short of the kill, 100 kill club. There's one for Doki going down, can't find the second, but they get the finish off anyway. It's a 1v1. Experience versus youth. Who wins out between Cryin and Benja?
18 seconds left to go. Cryin thinking about getting that diffuser down. He's not going to stick it. He comes off. He knows that the push was there, and Cryin manages to find his man. Pops around the corner, and Koi take their first round to bring it back to 1-3. Well, is he going to find his man? The Mozzie is just inside of there, but Benja, he knows where Spoit's going to come from, and he doesn't need to peek this. He can just wait for his moment.
And that feels like what he's trying to do. Flash maybe coming in here as Spoit. They know that there's a player here, but they run into the one. There we go, a trade. That's the kind of thing you're looking for. You've still lost a man, mind you, and it still works out as a net win for G2. They can keep on playing this trade game and have 0 concerns. And as the Goyo burns through, it's another C4 kill in the round. Doki's up to 15 and 2. Spoit should be able to get the trade back onto the other side at the very least. As he sprints in through the fire, will finish off 1, but with 10 seconds on the clock, this is looking like another G2 round. Koi quivering in their boots, unable to get themselves inside the map too quickly, are going to find themselves down 4-1. Solo peaks too early in the round, and it is biting. Maybe he's just desperate to keep up with Doki, but he's got some way to go.
I think that's maybe exactly what it is. He's just trying to sort of, inject himself into the round in some way, try and get himself into the game. Virtue managing to get himself one as well. That's Leon going down. Kanto does manage to push in here on the Finker LMG, though. No, sorry, it's the Spear he's going to be pushing in with. Obviously, the LMG dropping off in popularity after those nerfs. Kills coming back and forth, though, but ultimately it's that man again. Doki steps around the corner, kills onto Deepak, and that is going to be another round for G2. At the top of main stairs, got into study, but that kill on to the second man, Benja, at the top of main stairs has really not helped them, but Spike gives himself away there, moving through 90 elbow, and Alamau on that window does not have to think twice. Kanto working around maps though, just trying to get something going, but the heat's going to come onto him soon. He manages to get his kill though, Des. Very important, just stopping that.
Players like Deepak still on the field.
This battle with Kanto that's going to happen in a minute could be the big one, and it could be a decisive factor. He's not been winning a lot of gunfights so far, so this is the point, but it looks like actually they're going to push him through games though here. But we've got Leon. He's just let down Prone. He gets himself one with the SMG. Barely fires more than a bullet, but Doki got it. Gets one, gets two. 9 seconds left to go, Des. They need to think about getting this case down, and Blur, he's there. He's ready. Deepak, he's going to have to do something. I don't think he's got a drone available to him, because otherwise surely he would be having a look and using it. The diffuser goes down, and it's now a 2v1, and the advantage was all there for G2. Des, where did they dig that round out from?
From Doki's backside to try and move Virtue and Blur in. I know they're playing on the supportive roles, but this is probably the best time to change things around, especially now all your EE1Ds have gone down too, but it's been a little bit static. Alamau taken down, as does Blur. It's Virtue left all alive, and this feels very, very reminiscent of what we saw earlier when Deepak was left in a 1vx. He'll get nothing. It's a flawless round for Koi, but is it enough, Tim, knowing they've got to get 4 more rounds like this on the board against the hottest entry in the game?
And go and win it. And so I've got a lot of respect for it, and that's the position that G2 might find themselves in, that some of the players are actually a little bit cool because they're not really getting into those fights. But Alamau, he's going to find and win one, manages to get himself an opening pick headshot onto Leon, but Deepak's there to get one of his own, taking Virtue down. That's the Ash off the board, and it leaves us in a 4v4.
Bit of an early C4 coming out there as well. No one actually inside the building. Doki and Blur both taking some chip damage, but here comes Benja with the backstab. Almost gets into a second, but no! Cryan shuts him down. Not quite the same as how round 1 went when it was Benja playing off on the Kavira, and it's Spike to bring another one down. Looking much better here for Koi, but it's Doki. At this point, it's KD padding before the round comes to an end. And I say comes to an end, Tim. Only thing I'm unsure of is which way it goes. It's a 1 versus 2, but Doki is the player you want in this kind of position.
Well, he's got an age of time on the board as well. A 1v3 definitely possible for him. No, he's going to have to overextend. I think he gets challenged from Master. That was my concern. No, Doki, you just went too soon. He dumps the Candela in, goes to the immediate peak, I think hoping that the defender might have turned into a corner, might have tried to move away from that gadget in the game, but certainly seems to be finding those entries now, managing to get Kanto taken down. That's the Oryx gone as well. Super mobile operator, can obviously get up and down those hatches, always dangerous on the flank. Spike takes a lot of damage, but along with Cryan manages to get a kill, and that leaves us now with a little swingaroo in terms of manpower, and it's going to be Koi with the advantage, 4 versus 3.
And you're seeing the confidence build because they've challenged so aggressively here, Koi. It's like watching G2 back in the first half. A couple of round wins has got that built up now, and yes, they're starting to unpick G2 kill after kill. Spoit, what a play coming out as well. Impacts the wall, goes for Doki, who sat on the other side, and gets himself a kill. Turning into
scratching for time here to get themselves in, and it's all going to come down to a little bit of a Hail Mary push at the end, I would imagine. Blur does have a look. He knows there's potentially somebody in Memo, but it's not going to matter because the crossfire's in place. Cryan manages to hit him from piano, and he likes the sound of that as Deepak manages to get that final kill. Koi bring us back to 4-6 to get the kills, and it just takes him down to a 4 versus 3.
This is where that Flores ban from Koi is going to come in big as well. This is one of the most, common setups that we see for this site. You have to try and nade it, which means peeking in blind, which means Kanto can get freebies. Gets blasted out from below by the ITA. What a response from Alamau. Beautiful stuff.
I'm going to go so far as to say that's the only ITA gameplay kill that we see at SI 2023.
Very possibly. Cryin steps out and brings down Alamau, leaving Blur in a 1v3 who, like DPEC back in the first half, has been really quiet so far because his team have been the ones getting involved in everything. Should see himself finding himself getting taken down here as he steps in for the plant. Koi will hear that one from an absolute mile away as out comes DPEC now looking to try and take the fight, and Blur has really sold himself short here. Surely sees the barrel of the gun, and DPEC's right in there with that supernova. Bam, bam, pop. And down goes
Seen
Blur.
them have the opener a couple of times in the last rounds. Round 11, round 10, both G2 opening kills. Round 9 as well, actually, stringing them together, but unable to secure rounds with the man advantage. And once again, they've got that opportunity now. Leon's been a tricky player for them to be against in the last few rounds, so getting him off the board is not a terrible start. DPEC gone as well, leaving us now 4 versus 3. G2 really trying to get the map control and use it here.
Here we go, stepping in there. So the 4 versus 3, this should be all they need. And sure enough, Virtue's going to find Spoit as he steps out a little bit blind there. And it's Kanto and Cryin to clutch up big. One comes out on the C4. The thing is, the thing of Cryin in these spots, I know he's the kind of player that can pull these big plays out. But against the 3 players, one of them being Benja, it might be too tall an order. So there it is.
Alamau is going to be holding that angle. Kanto manages to find Benja on the red stairs, though, shuts him down with a headshot. Leaves us now in a 2 versus 1, fighting his way back. 2 more kills for him to find. 1 minute left. Oh, but Alamau, it's going to be from the window, finds his man, closes it down, and G2, they take map 1. Nothing doing on main stairs in terms of his scanner, but I think there may be one down there for Koi. Spot's going to try and work his way in from blue stairs. He's going to play in behind a nade there, but look at all the utility that Koi are facing up to here. There's an absolute ton of it. There's Goyo canisters being detonated. There's smoke canisters going off left and right. Spot does manage to find a kill with his second nade. Oh, kills rain in backwards and forwards, and all of a sudden we're in a 2v2 with 15 seconds there.
It looks a little bit ropey as well. 10 seconds left, but what a great kill out of DPEC. Blur's left all alone against the 2 moving in for the play, but he runs into the angle. We've seen that a few times across these 2 maps. Round 1 going the way of Koi.
Once again, we see Spike raining the nades in. That's exactly the angle that he was using last time around, and G2 didn't have an answer to being encircled as they are once again. Spike looking to get aggressive, overly so though, as he peeks with nade in hand, but manages to get one. G2, they can't let him get away with that. There's DPEC, manages to find Benja, and it's all going Koi's direction at the minute, but Virtue manages to shut Spike down, and that gives them a little bit of comfort that there's no push coming from blue, but it's all up to Alamau. He's 1 versus 4, the diffuser's down, this round is done.
And they know it as well. That was just brilliant how Virtue got trapped inside of dirt by his own, well not his own, but his team's own Goyo canister.
And then if they place somebody on the garage window, they can watch down towards red, and it creates a nice safe space to get that diffuser down. That's what they're going to be looking to create, and as soon as they've got that done, down goes the plant, and they are well on their way. The one thing stopping them at the minute, realistically, beautifully timed pre-placed nitro pull there from the Warden, but I was going to say the one thing stopping them was the man on catwalk, as that has been removed. It's all up to Blur, but very unlikely that he manages to find this. Gets one onto Cryin, but a lot of work to be done. DPEC's going to be getting that plant down, and I love this from Koi. Only 2 minutes in and the plant's going down. They have not messed around here, Des.
There's a chat list to be finished and completed. They almost have. There's one man left standing, and Blur's life is the last thing on their agenda in the post plant. Just making sure they're lined up here for a couple of crossfires. One on catwalk, one out on towards the platform, and one sat on the diffuser itself. As you say, Tim, 2 minutes in, plant is going down. They know what needed to be done, and they absolutely did it. Just waiting here to try and go for the firefight, but they all explode at once. It's another great round from Koi.
All the way to boxers inside of Arsenal, and it's just going to make it very difficult for anybody to try and push out or get aggressive onto blue, and it'll support Spike in moving down those stairs if that's where Spike goes again. But Blur, he's going to manage to take the head off Leon there, and that's going to be a great start for G2, but DPEC once again, as I said, that line of sight there, this is why I loved it.
The thing is that he knew as well, surely the call must have come out, okay, Osler's sat on oil, be careful, but then Blur's full sprinting his way back down. I'm not sure what he was expecting, but slowly, the slow crawl of death of DPEC moves forward, steps out past his shield here. I don't think anyone's expecting him as well to be trying to get aggressive like this. If he can get in and get a couple of kills, that's massive. Sees ahead of a the player, but doesn't quite finish him off. That's so unfortunate. As Spoit drops to the floor lifeless, it's an all-in 3v3, Tim.
Kanto manages to step in, finds himself a headshot, and this is all going in Koi's direction. 3 versus 2, Crime managing to get in the diffuser down as well. Doki, he's just running around trying to find anything, but all he's going to find is the pistol of Deepek, and that leaves us now with Alamo. He's fighting. It's 1v3, it's 1v2, it's 1v1. Alamo surely not. He knows where his last man is. Switches to the pistol, but no Cryan. Once again in the 1v1, we saw it on Villa. Now we see it on Clubhouse. He locks it out.
It has come down to the wire in the last 30 seconds, and Blur just blasts Cryan off the roof. That's the kind of kill that you want into a 4v4 in the last 35 seconds of the round stepping into play. It's all going to come down to Koi and what fights they can take.
Leon, he's searching, he's seeking, he sees the frost. Smart manages to shoot it out, but it's Deepek and Spoit that are doing the work, and that leaves us now in a 2 versus 4, and things are going from bad to worse for G2 right now. Doki's going to hold his angle on the logistics hatch. I think he knows that the drop might be coming, but no, they move away, and it's as easy as that for Spoit as he swings around the corner and finds his man, and it's all up to Alamo in the spot that we see so often populated by Shaiko, and he's managing to get his kills raining in as well, but this is great from Koi, just forcing him to move into sight. Spoit, he knows where he's coming from. Beautiful headshot. He's up out of his seat, and this is a different Koi to the one that we saw in the first few rounds of Villa. It's obviously with the new point system, you know, it doesn't look like anybody's going to be getting a 2-0, so that keeps the group a bit tighter. You know, we're going to be on those reduced points. Now then, Leon manages to get himself another. That's his second kill in the round. Kanto manages to find Alamo, and this is 6-0 all day long. There is no way for me that Blur manages to overcome this. You know, we know he's got that clutch factor. I remember it back in EUL for Na'Vi.
Consulate? Mate, what a
absolutely
game.
Beautiful, but he just hasn't shown that sort of ability recently. And in a 1v4, this is a matter of time until Koi track him down and get this kill.
There we go. Easy peasy for Spoit again. It was just hunter, killer across that half. 6-0 for Koi.
We've picked up on a couple of times in Villa. A few peaks that maybe he stayed a second or two.
Look at the progression.
Leon. He manages to get one onto Benja. Alamo's low health, and Koi have managed to get themselves a little toehold.
So cheeky there. They must have known that they were chasing after the player that was being a little bit disruptive on the upstairs, and Leon just bites. Manages to find Benja. Doesn't finish off Alamo, mind you, but Alamo is down to a slither of HP. You can blow on him and he'd fall over at this point. He's not too long for this world, but what he can do with a headshot though, that's what you've got to be terrified of.
Deepek going to take a lot of damage down inside of sight, and you've still got to say that this is a round that should be going to G2. As the kills come in, it will do. Doki manages to find one, Alamo with a double, and that is going to be a big round for G2. It gets them on the path at least. The effects of that stun to wear off before he continues pushing through. We're going to see Koi actually really dipping back here. Benja manages to get the kill onto Leon, and that leaves everybody from Koi upstairs at the moment. It's not the end of the world. They can defend the site from up there, but they've been pushed out of construction as well. So this is good from G2.
Another one coming in as well. Yeah, I mean, poor Leon painted the whole picture of Benja, but not actually the man himself. Drew his outline into the sky and found himself taken out pretty quick. G2 though taking a lot of chip damage, but they're the ones still collecting the kills until 2 more come back through. Deepek looking big so far, gets shut down by Benja on the outside on a slither of HP. Spoit, the last one left alive against 3. Is this the moment where he really shines to wins the map for his team? We're about to find out.
He had those moments in Berlin, and they're going to need a few more from him here if they want to get this done here and now. Unlikely, as G2 know exactly where he is. Benja stood waiting, says thank you very much for taking the barricade down for me.
That's exactly it. We love the groups though, Tim, because that's exactly why they're so exciting. It's just upset after upset. Now, this is a bit of an upset for Spoit. He's been dived straight in on Doki's brought him down already. Bit of a 1-for-1 early on as Kanto gets tagged out. Deepek's down too. They're falling like flies, Tim. Leon is the last one left standing. What on earth has happened there? We'll be able to get Deepek back on his feet. It brings us into a 2 versus 3, but it's still advantage G2.
Kanto not in a position to be collected, so it does leave us cemented at 3v2, and Leon just moving around inside of sight at the minute, trying to basically burn time at this point, keep himself safe for as long as possible. Deepek with a nice nitro kill. They might just be able to fight this back here. They're in a 2v2, and they know where they're both pushing from now. Leon's just going to hold his position. He manages to get the down. It's 2v1. Surely Koi don't fight this back from a 2v4, Des. He's just now in a 1v1. It's Blur. He's low health. He's going to take the opportunity to pick his man up, and that could be the play. It's Alamo now who finds the kill, and that hard swings back and forward. Wall out. He did see him move past through the drone hole and blur straight onto the drones to get that information. It's too easy. It is too easy for Doki. He goes in with the pistol. It's all pistols for G2 at the minute. And the last kill of the last round, the first kill of this one. Doki, he knows there's a second on his side. He's trying to challenge and he's sticking with it. Alamau manages to get canted. Doki with a second on the pistol onto Spite.
He's just starting on kids at this point, isn't he? Quite literally as well. Moving himself up to 6 kills on the map. It's not quite as big a performance as we saw back on Villa, but it's getting the results. And this time around, it's a reverse blind fire. It was Crying who was caught out blind earlier on, but they've managed to get themselves one. They've put down Blur as well, finished off. Leon being pushed here has got to be ready for the swing. And in it comes. 2 quick kills for G2. Up to 6 and 4 we go. It begins with R. What we've seen quite often is that teams are leaving it until the last 30 seconds to go for their execute. And there we go. This time around, Alamau's far too in his ADS and gets himself caught out. 2 men down for the side of G2. No one lost for Koi. Feels like this might just be that round, Tim, unless we see some real big hero plays. One of those coming out of Benja.
Looks like it could be the time for Koi. 4 versus 2, just starting to fall away. They're controlling the map well. It's sort of forcing G2 to chase them around, really. They know there's no opportunity to be putting the diffuser down. The only thing put down is Benja as Deepak finds his kill, and that leaves us now all up to Blur. 1 versus 4. He's just got to find some kills. It's the only thing he can do, but the only thing he can't do as Deepak shuts him down, and that leaves us with Koi taking map 2, and we are going to go all the way to 3 days.
And as you may well have just seen in the top left corner of your screen, there is a G2 player lurking inside a lab and storage. Could be the backstab that wins G2 the round.
Deepak manages to get the kill onto Benja, leaving us now 5 versus 3 in favour of Koi. They need something big from Virtue, and he manages to get one. That is a big, big start, taking down Deepak. But the trade immediately there, and that team player that I referenced from Clubhouse is just really starting to pull forward. It's transferring onto Theme Park, but okay, he goes big, gets himself a double, and all of a sudden, Des, we're in a 2v2. Leon's putting the diffuser down. He's going to have to stick this or the clock will run out.
Oh, he pulled off out of fear as well. Now Crying's left in. For a second there, it looked like Doki was going to go for the swing and could have cost him the round, but no, time runs out.
The round to start really mounting that final execute.
I mean, at least bouncing a second one back here as well. Koi slowly starting to see their ranks thinned out as Blur lets his man pass. That's the mirror taken out, and now Spoit's at least inside of the room itself, but can he really go much further? Given all the utility sat around and the angles no doubt being watched too, into a final 3 versus 3 with 20 seconds to go. It feels like Villa all over again, Tim, when it comes down to these last second executes.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a little bit of a rush here. Crying, trying to get himself in and get the diffuser down, but Blur, he's going to take out Spoit. Doki finds Crying, diffuser down, round over, as it's Benja that manages to find that final kill, and that is G2 2-0. Away with things. Scoreline overall tells you that it was closer than it possibly was, and it was a huge fight back required from Koi. Now we're going to hear EMPs going off, I think, somewhere. We're not going to have... Oh no, the breach is going to be triggered, but we've got kills raining in, and they're all going in favour of G2. It is now 5 versus 3, and another round that Koi have almost certainly lost here. Beautiful little shot taking the Nitro out of flight from Deepak, but he's all alone, and he's all dead as Doki manages to find that final kill. G2 take the round. It's 3-0. It's a kill. Beautiful play.
Trying to catch out Alamau here. He's just dancing away on site itself. It's a big 2K for Virtue, though. Spoit and Kanto deleted as Crying finally steps up for the trade. A 3v2. Koi, they have the chance to get this round on the board as we get into that last 40 or so, and they've got what they need to get it done.
Blur's just going to hold his angle out through lab there. Just try and again watch for anybody pushing from barrels. Crying manages to find Alamau. It's all up to Blur 1v3. Deepak, opportunity to put the diffuser down, but he doesn't need to. He's going to pop up and get himself a kill instead.
It does feel like it's going only one way. We get into that last 30, and Koi is trying to kind of step forward here to see what they can find, but it's looking completely the wrong way. Alamau gets himself a freebie, and the second one rifles on through. Kanto is left alone against 5. G2 will go up to 4-1, and that 3-3 half that he said they so sorely need on the side of Koi, Tim, it's now no longer a possibility.
It's making sure that the push isn't coming, but I would imagine before that bar ticks down, he will take the opportunity. Doki manages to take what little health Leon had left. Not that it would matter as he found himself a headshot, but just holding the reverse angle on that mirror for the time being, and that's going to leave us now in a 4 versus 2 effectively. This is a round that Koi can win.
I was going to say, surely there's just no way Alamau can get his man back up there because it's so risky. They had no control over the arcade balcony, and you can see that from Alamau almost losing his life on the exit, but now he's a little bit penned in. Koi know exactly where he is. If he comes out of this one alive, he's a miracle worker. Finds one, wrapping around for the second, and finds his miracle. Man. How has Alamau find two? He's the miracle worker himself. It's a 2v1, Crying being taken down, and Alamau with a massive 2K gives G2 the 5-1 high.
Yeah, very, very fair, I think. But yeah, absolutely. You know, for G2 fans out there, there's certainly room to be excited. Koi manages to get an opener on to Doki. Going to be a big start there. Now then, Koi, they need to start winning defenses immediately here. They want to be getting numbers back on the board. It's going to be 4 versus 3 as Alamau manages to get the trade.
Absolutely nothing. Koi, a much better round coming out, as you come to expect as they switch over to the defensive side. Crying especially is having an absolute field day. Finishes off a couple for himself in the round, and no doubt about to find the third if Benja keeps on missing shots like this.
Benja going to be pushing in behind that nade more than likely. No,
as the Yokais
dip himself away, as you say. There's everything that Crying needs here. There's no way that he loses that fight. Manages to find his kill. It's going to be a headshot, and that's going to be Koi taking their first defensive round, as I said. And Benja, he's just going to continue holding this one to see if he can pick himself up a nice opener.
Patience of a Saint, and realises as well that it's the Sledge pushing in to get some support, but it was Doki pushing tight, but no! Loses his life. G2 though have shut Koi down. They've found themselves 3 kills so far already, and sure, Crying gives them a little bit of breathing room with a kill onto Blur, but it's still a 3v2. They've still got so much utility, Tim. 3 flashes, 2 nades, drones out on the field. Really, there should be no excuse for G2 to be losing this one out as the plant is going down.
Absolutely, this is the moment for Koi now. 2 versus 3, there are moments in games that you just feel you have to win, and this is one of them, and they're going to have to come out big with a clutch. Benja does manage to get the kill onto Spite. It's all up to Crying. 1v3, Diffuser down about 30 seconds to do something about this if he wants any opportunity to be able to disable that activated Diffuser. Now then, he's moving around the corner. There is a man there, but G2 know exactly where he's coming from, and they are not going to move a muscle, Des. They're just going to hold their angles now and wait for him to move into the crossfire they've established. There's one to his right, there's one inside his sight. There's the flank. Crying does a great job though, manages to find his kill, but on low health there's nothing else he can do.
And 1D as well. I don't know if he knows. Oh yes he does. There was one towards the right. Does he know about Spoit? Because Spoit was still hanging inside of showers, but with that brief moment of panic, Benja could go big. Spoit brings down Doki. Clearly G2 making a small error there in not realizing that Spoit was still lurking around.
They will certainly know now, and they need to adjust and make sure they deal with it. And that's exactly what Benja's going to start doing. But no, still haven't dealt with Spite. He manages to get one onto Crying, but it's going to be Leon who manages to find the kill onto Virtue. Swing can't find the shots.
He won't find timing again. So close to finding his man, but not able to collect it. One walks into, of course they do. It's Alamau charging straight into those Capcan traps, as juicy as they come. Nice Blur left in a 1v2. Again, a player that's been pretty quiet throughout the series, Tim, but we know what his clutch potential is like from back in the old days on Na'Vi.
100%, but definitely one of the things when you come away saying, right, what can G2, even if they win here, you know, what are the next steps for G2? How do they improve on that performance? You know, one thing you've got to say is they need to...
Waiting room, waiting room would be an interesting name. Just forgetting about the one player that was still lurking off towards their right-hand side. Now, once they've dealt with him, sure, things change, and sure enough, that's exactly what they're looking for. Benja this time round almost finding their man, but Spoit gets away in about half HP.
Spite's done this a couple of times where he'll take a bit of damage, but he manages to wriggle away and continue to cause a problem, but absolutely not this time, as it's Doki to step in and shut down. We're going to have that wall opening up, just looking to work the yellow stairs now then. That could be a nice nitro, but no, doesn't find its mark. They're going to find themselves another man down as Benja crawled into a difficult position and leaving us now in a 1 versus 5 for Deepek. We've seen him clutch time after time, Des, but I think this might just be too much to ask, and that is going to be the opening win for G2.
Wow, a rivalry that for the last year, Koi have dominated, but G2 finally get themselves on the board.